Hey, what's up, guys? Today is my last day in America. Oops, I got an echo going on here. All right, so I'm moving to Thailand tomorrow, which is really exciting. I'm here with my sister, Lauren.
Hi.
Who is also a YouTuber, and she lives in Thailand. So I'm going to be going and hanging out there. So I'm going tomorrow. I'm going early before the school year starts because I want to go start practicing my Thai there, but she won't be moving to Thailand quite yet. Or she already lives in Thailand, but she's back home for the summer. So it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to the new experience. If you're interested in seeing what the experience is like, what the school is like, what the area, I don't know, what the food is like, what all the excursions are like, you can check out her channel. What's the name of it? Letters from Lauren?
Yes, Letters from Lauren.
All right, and I'm pretty sure I remembered to include a link to that in the description of this video. If someone could just check that really quick and let me know if I did that correctly or not. Actually, I think I can check it. Yeah, so I included a link in the bottom of the in the description of this video. So she does videos on like I don't know, on visiting elephants and stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think I did one on that, and then like what I eat in a week, so food and everything in Thailand. And I did one just on random facts and weird things that I've learned while I've been there and stuff like that.
So it's more about living in Thailand and what it's like. When I'm in Thailand, I'm going to continue doing videos on languages and linguistics, just like I always do. But if you want to see what life is like in Thailand, you can go check out her channel and see just all the different fun, crazy things that we're going to do. I assume I'll be in some of the videos. I don't know.
Probably.
I'm kind of smelly, so I don't know if you'll want to hang out with me or not when I'm over there.
And he'll probably be even more smelly when he's in Thailand because it's so hot.
Yeah, so I hear. So, yeah, that's really exciting. When are you going to Thailand again?
July 25th. So I'll get there the 26th.
26th. Okay, so what's today? The 12th? So about 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, I'm going a few weeks early. The school year starts like, I think at the end of July.
Yeah, like the 29th.
Okay. So I'm going a few weeks early because I'm going to be taking some Thai classes while I'm there.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. I know you have to get going. You can leave whenever you want or stay as long as you want.
Okay, bye!
All right. Stephanie Field says, will you teach at an international school or a government school? It's a private school. Yep. It'll be a private school in Bangkok. So, yeah, and we'll be teaching at the same school. I think Lauren has done a few videos on like the school in general, if you're interested in seeing where I'm going to be working. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really plan anything to talk about today other than just the fact that I'm moving. I have been slowly preparing. I'm a really slow, really late preparer, a late packer. So I haven't really been packing my bags. I kind of started yesterday, and now I have them mostly packed, actually. Stephanie says, I hope they have a curriculum provided for you. Yes, it seems like a really, really nice school, like a really good school. It seems like it's going to be a great experience, just from what I've seen on social media. So yeah, the last few weeks have been crazy for me, between trying to prepare for going to Thailand and trying to learn Thai really fast before moving to Thailand, and then going to NASC for a week and speaking only Esperanto. I did try, while I was at NASC, I did try to do daily Thai lessons on top of all of the Esperanto, but just didn't really work out. I got not lazy. It was just tough trying to live in Esperanto all day and then trying to learn a foreign language. So I guess it was laziness, really, if you want to bring it down to it. But so I didn't do a whole lot of Thai study while I was there, and then I promised myself that I would get back into the swing of things when I came back to the United States, or when I came back to Wisconsin, and that I would stop learning Esperanto and continue with my Thai from where I left off. I have continued practicing Thai again, but I haven't completely stopped using Esperanto because I'm still talking to my friends and stuff in Esperanto and still doing other stuff in Esperanto. It was just such a good experience at NASC. I just can't help myself. But, you know, it's okay. I have one more day until I go to Thailand, and then I feel like I'm going to be really motivated to continue pushing my Thai forward. I did reach the end of my Pimsleur CD course a while back, actually, which that was my main method for learning Thai. I started going over it again a second time, but I kind of put that on halt now, and now I'm using ThaiPod 101 more, which I think is not, it's not as good as Pimsleur, but it's better in some ways and not as good in other ways. Overall, I like Pimsleur better, but you know, you can only listen to the same CDs so many times. So I'm happy to try something new, and the ThaiPod 101 does seem to be working pretty well for me now. How are you going to document your experience at Thailand? It's a good question. Converse, I'm not sure if you were here earlier. My sister was here for the first like 3 minutes of the live stream. She lives in Thailand, and we're going to live in the same city. And she is also a YouTuber. And she's just kind of starting. I think she has like 50 subscribers or something now. So if you're interested in seeing my life in Thailand, go check out her channel, which I've linked to in the description below. It's called Letters from Lauren, I believe. And if you want to see what life is like in Thailand, if you want to follow me while I'm in Thailand, subscribe to her channel. And that'll help her out. And you'll be able to see what life is like, what's going on there in Thailand. Hey, Oregon Polyglot says, hi, Aaron. Does ThaiPod 101 include the 400 activities course? That's what I'm using for German now, and I find it helpful to build my vocabulary. I'm not sure if they have 400 activities. I'm using like the Thai for Absolute Beginners season 1 or something like that. That course in ThaiPod 101. You know, I think I'm probably not quite at, you know, not even at an A1 level yet. So that's what I'm using right now. Rasmus A says, hello. Hello, Rasmus. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so it's exciting. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go. It was like kind of a whirlwind the last few days. Okay, Rasmus says, yeah, they do have the 400 daily activities. I just wasn't aware of that one. I haven't used many of the courses on ThaiPod 101 yet. I've mainly just been focusing on the one course that I've been doing. I did listen to a few different ThaiPod 101 courses that I thought were not that good. Like one was called, what was it? Extensive reading for Absolute Beginners or something like that. And all they do is they just like, I guess it goes along with a book, so maybe I'm missing something because I don't have the book. Maybe I shouldn't judge it off that. But I listened to a few lessons in this series, and it was just like reading off one vocabulary word at a time. And I'm like, I'm not going to learn these vocabulary words just by listening to someone else read them off. So that was a little bit frustrating, but I did find a few good lessons on there. So that'll be good, I think. That'll help. And then by the time I get to Thailand on Sunday, No, wait. Let's see. It's strange because of the time difference. I'm leaving tomorrow. I will arrive on Sunday, my time, but it'll be Monday there. So yeah. So by the time I get there on Monday, I'm gonna get that extra push. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a lot of studying on the plane in the airports during my layovers, and then on Tuesday, I'm going to start my my intensive Thai classes in Bangkok. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And Cumber says, "Are you ever going to move back to America?" Yes. Yes, I will. Stephanie Field says, "Do you have the premium account? There's a PDF for extensive reading." I have the mobile account. It was like $10 for a month or something. I didn't want to commit to a year because I don't know how much I'll like it or how much I'll use it, or if whether or not I'll outgrow it within a year. So I decided I'll try it for a month and see. And if I like it, then I'll keep going. Yes, I know they do have PDFs and stuff. I haven't really been using those. Well, I take that back. I have used some of the PDFs, and they are helpful. Man, one of the hardest things about Thai is finding good resources for learning how to read and write. Yeah, it's been learning spoken Thai is a little bit more straightforward because I listen to Pimsleur CDs and stuff like that. But learning spoken Thai and reading and writing is much harder. Some of their daily activities are just weird. Like, I avoid the neighbor. I argue with the kids. The person who chose the daily activities had a strange daily routine. Or maybe they're just trying to teach you all kinds of different vocabulary and just find some excuse to throw it in there. Or Andy says, 400 activities has 200 sentences that people might actually say. I wake up at 7. I turn on the computer. I walk the dog, etc. And then he says, we were typing opposite things at the same time, even with the weird sentence. The vocab is useful. Stephanie Field says, the mobile account has the PDF book for extensive reading. You should also check the lesson notes for all the podcast courses. Yes, I have been using the lesson notes and stuff. I do like it. The course that I'm using, I have been enjoying. I think it's relatively good, pretty good. Cumber says, are you planning on going to the Polyglot Conference 2019 at Japan? No, I'm not. It would probably depend on my work schedule. If it happens to fall, I don't know when it is. If the Polyglot Conference did happen to fall on one of my vacations, then that would definitely be something I would consider going to. But most likely it won't. October 18th, yeah, I would have to check my work schedule. I am planning on going to the Langfest next year. Not this Langfest, but Langfest 2020 and the World Esperanto, the Universal Esperanto Congress, both in Montreal, and I think they're one right after another in 2020. So I'm looking forward to that. That's still a long ways off, but man, I went to Langfest last year. Was that last year? Yeah, Langfest last year, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. Just going and meeting other language learners, finding people that are passionate about the same thing as me, and we had a lot of fun. Speaking, I spoke every language I know with someone. Spoke French. Well, it's in Montreal, so obviously we spoke French. Spoke Spanish. Spoke Esperanto. Did I speak anything else? I don't think I would have been able to speak anything else. Didn't know any Thai at that time. All right. One thing I like about the absolute beginner level of innovative language podcasts, Typod 101, etc., is that they talk quickly and slowly. Yes, that is useful. I do appreciate that. So you can repeat after the slow parts to improve pronunciation and tones, and then When that's easy, repeat after the fast parts. I did that for Cantonese and Vietnamese. Yes. So I do thank you for recommending. I believe, Andy, I believe you were the one that recommended TiPod 101 to me, at least the first one to recommend it. And I stopped using it during my first 5 days learning Thai because I was using a whole bunch of different resources, and I just didn't find that one to be as good as some of the other ones that I was using. But now that I do have some basis in Thai, yeah, it's more useful now. So I do like it. I have been enjoying it. So yeah, I don't know. This will probably be my last live stream for. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I might do another live stream next week. Next few days are going to be a little bit hectic. I'll try to make a video of my travels, like just a video of the trip to Thailand. Maybe I'll post that if people are interested. It won't necessarily be a language related video, but I'm sure people would be interested in that. Like I said, for those who weren't here, my sister, who already lives in Thailand, also has a YouTube channel where she just makes videos about living in Thailand. So you can find her channel using the link below if you're interested in that and interested in just seeing what my life is going to be like in Thailand. Subscribe to her channel, and that'll help her out. All right, Rasmus says, hopefully the internet in Thailand would be fast enough to live stream or upload with no problem. Yes, I've been thinking about that as well. And I mean, we video chat with my sister sometimes. So it shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. If you can video chat, then you should be able to live stream, and uploads won't be an issue. Andy says, if you live stream from Thailand, it will probably be at a different hour because the time zone differences. Yes, and actually where I live in the United States and where Thailand is are precise opposites. So it's 12 hours different. So I definitely won't be having the same schedule because normally I try to schedule Friday mornings. And when I'm in Thailand, I'm going to work Friday mornings, which actually technically means that maybe if I live stream later on Friday nights, that then I would actually still be doing live streams at technically the same time, same world time. Otherwise, maybe I'll try to find some better time to live stream. I doubt I'm going to want to wake up before work and live stream. We'll have to see how that all works out. We'll work out the kinks later. So yeah, just all that to say, videos over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks are probably going to be a little bit more sporadic, like they kind of have been over the last 2 or 3 weeks, because I've been, in North Carolina and getting ready and running around and moving and stuff, a lot of stuff like that. We'll just have to, I ask you guys to bear with me with my irregular schedule. I'll do uploads and I'll do live streams when I can. I know my little banner on my YouTube channel says new videos every Monday and Friday or something like that, and that's just not going to be true over the next few weeks. Hopefully I will be able to find a consistent schedule to get back into once I get settled into Thailand. Andy says, a lot of digital nomads live in Thailand, so the internet must be fairly good. Yeah, true. Yeah, I know I've watched live streams and videos from people who live all over the world, so I don't think it'll be an issue. Side note, interesting side note, just last night, was it last night? Either last night or the night before. I think the night before. I, for the first time, watched and actually interacted in a live stream of someone else's live stream. It was one of my teachers from NASC who was just live streaming on Twitch. It was my first real ever experience with Twitch. 99.9% of my experience with live streams has been on this side of the camera, speaking into the camera. And it was really an interesting experience to see what it's like from the other side, because it was like she would say something and then I would want to respond, but I'm typing on my phone, and then by the time I finished typing something, it was like she's on to talking about something else, and I was like, do I even send this now? I feel left behind, and it was just an interesting experience. I had never interacted with through live stream from that side before. So all that to say, I now understand a little bit better the mindset of the people that are watching me. If you ever are in the situation where you want to say something, but it's too late, just go ahead and say it, because I'll go back. I usually try to go back and read all the comments that I have left behind. I know there are some times where I don't understand why someone says something. Like they'll leave a comment in the live stream and I'll be like, I don't understand what you're saying there, or I don't understand what you're asking. And that's because, they typed the comment, when I was talking about something else. So the context was different. And then I read the comment a few minutes later. So sometimes a little bit of confusion happens that way, which is totally cool. Usually I can figure out what they're talking about, or I'll ask them to clarify. And then they'll say, oh, I typed that when you were talking about X 5 minutes ago. So, I guess that's just something to keep in mind. There's also lag to deal with. Like, I think sometimes people somehow end up watching the footage from like 30 seconds or a minute before, so that by the time they watch it and then comments, I'm already well past the part in the video where, where they had commented. So all that to say, it's an interesting experience. I'm learning more about live streaming. My first time ever live streaming was last summer in Paris with Kevin Abroad. And he was like, hey, you want to do a live stream? And I was like, I don't know, that's kind of scary. Because when I had only done regular video uploads before that. And I was like, when I do a video by myself, if I screw it up or if I say something stupid, I can just go back and edit it and cut that part out and then change it. But with live streams, it's like, just gotta go with whatever comes out of my mouth. And if I can't think of a word on the spot, then I just gotta sit there and go, what's that word again? Oh yeah. Andy says, this was a problem during your long live streams, learning a language in X hours. My lag was really long then. At one point, it even repeated the previous hour until I refreshed the page. Yeah, that happens to me a few times too. A few days ago when I was watching my Esperanto friend, my Esperanto teacher live stream, it was like I would see the comments in real time that other people were leaving, and then I would see what she was saying, and then I would realize that I was behind, so I had to refresh the page, and then I would get caught back up again. But then you missed whatever is in between. Rasmus says, this is the first time you are learning a language that doesn't have the Latin alphabet? Yes. And it's tough. It's harder than I expected, partially because Thai has a ridiculous alphabet with like, you think American, or you think English, the English alphabet is bad with like a bunch of letters that kind of make the same sounds, C and K or C and S, or strange vowels. Thai is really hard because they have like 3 or 4 letters that make the same sound, and like some letters are only used in loan words from Sanskrit or from Pali, and you just have to know which words are loan words in order to know which letter to use. But I don't know which words are loan words, so it's hard. And I will learn it eventually. I'm not giving up. I'm not trying to complain, but it's tough. It ain't easy. Danny Blanche says, have a good trip and be safe. Thank you. I am hoping to be safe. Although, you know, Thailand certainly won't be the most dangerous place I've ever been. Sylvan Gilbert says, have a good trip. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the well wishes. Rasmus says, for me, the first one was Korean, but that was easy. I don't know about Thai alphabet. Yeah, I don't speak Korean, but I know for a fact that if I sat down and tried to learn the Korean alphabet, I could learn that in probably 1/100th of the time it takes to learn the Thai alphabet, just from what I've heard and read about the Korean alphabet in the past. I'm a little bit jealous, but at least it's not Mandarin Chinese where you have to learn 3,000 different symbols. I guess I can be thankful for that. Yeah, I didn't really plan out what else to talk about in this video. How are you guys doing? Let me know what's going on in your lives. I do want to, I forgot I don't have my clock here anymore. I do want to, you know, spend a little time live streaming, hanging out, chatting for a while, just because I don't know when will be the next time that we get to hang out. Rasmus says, I'm just looking at the Thai alphabet. It is confusing. Yes, especially since they have like 6 or 7 different characters that look like a little chicken, and just with like a little loop at different areas of the chicken. Like, you know, like one will have a loop here and then the chicken like that, or one will have the loop on the inside instead of on the outside, you know, or like it'll have a little tail at the end or something. And it's like, oh man, when do I start teaching? The school year starts, I think, like July 29th or something. So at the end of this month, for the next week and a half, I'm going to be learning. I'm going to be a student in a Thai school. Sfrisnett. Sfrisnett says, when will you finish your linguistics video series? I assume it won't be soon due to the whole moving to Thailand thing, but you will finish. But will you finish at some point? I don't know if I'll ever finish it. I might just continue adding videos to it as I see fit. I would like to do one more syntax video on, I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I think I may have gone a little bit too far off the deep end with the syntax tree, but there is one more syntax video that I can think of having to do with C command and reflexive pronouns that I think most people would be able to easily understand. I would like to do a semantics video and maybe a pragmatics video. And then, you know, I can think of some other topics to talk about. Maybe do a Linguistics 101 video on Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which is an interesting thing to talk about. At least it's an interesting thing to know about, even if it's not really that useful to know about. I thought about doing a video on African American vernacular English, which is a really interesting thing to study with linguistics. Maybe talk about second language acquisition and interlanguages. Maybe talk a little bit about child development and first language acquisition. We'll see how I feel. I don't feel pressed to make more videos in that series right now. But I have been making more linguistic related videos that are not in the series recently. Like I did one on Canadian raising, which has to do with, you know, phonology of Canadian English as opposed to American English, which that was all about linguistics. It just wasn't part of the series. I did one, I think just before that, on some phonology of the Spanish language. You know, so all this stuff is very interesting to me, and I'm going to continue making linguistics videos, especially when I go back to school and I start working on my master's degree in linguistics. I'll have all those gears turning again. It'll be more fresh in my mind at that point. All right. Andy says, sometimes I dream of learning Burmese because I love the alphabet, made mostly of circles, but I've heard that the spelling and pronunciation don't match like in English. Yeah. Every time I look at Burmese, I just think it looks like a whole bunch of butts because all the circles, they're all like curved and they just look like butts, which I guess that's the one thing the Burmese alphabet is known for. Oh, hi, Mirta. Thanks for joining. Calm Moonbeam. You have a lot of names. All right. Rasmus A says, hit me up if you need help. I'm Danish and I love teaching people. Oh, sorry, I missed a comment. I missed several comments. There's 2 Buddhist holidays next week, just so you know. Yes, I think I did know about that. Because I was trying to find days for, I was emailing the school about what days I can go to Thai school, and they're like, well, we can't go on school on this day. And I was like, but I need to learn Thai. And they're like, yeah, but no school on that day. So I guess I'm out of luck. I'm just going to be learning Thai on my own that day. Rasmus says, I am still learning Danish and Norwegian and having a hard time to keep them separate, especially pronunciation, because the written form is often identical, but pronunciation not so close. Right. I've heard, and this may be offensive to my Scandinavian viewers, that Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish, well, I think they're a dialect continuum, actually, to tell you the truth. From what I know, I'm not an expert, so I think we have maybe a Scandinavian language expert here that can speak more about it than I can. But I've heard that they form a dialect continuum, and that really it's hard to call them separate languages from a purely linguistic point of view. Okay, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. Srinsenet says, Rasmus A, hit me up if you need help. I'm Danish and I love teaching people. See, that's what this channel is all about, helping people find each other, find teachers, find help. All right, Rasmus A says, Oregon Polyglot, have you ever tried the Georgian alphabet? That is the most beautiful alphabet I've ever seen. It is like art. I've never heard of that. I mean, I've heard of Georgian, but I guess I've never seen the alphabet. Oh, and Fernet says, yeah, I loved your Canadian video. Thank you. That was a really interesting video to make. Well, it's just a really interesting topic to begin with. If you guys don't know which video I'm talking about, it's called like Why Canadians Say About. And the picture is the 2 moose, or the 2 moosin from Brother Bear. It's an interesting, very interesting topic. Interesting to talk about. I love making videos like that. Also, if you guys ever have suggestions about what kind of videos you would like to see or what videos you want me to make, let me know. Send me a comment. That's how I get some of my best ideas, to tell you the truth. Otherwise, I just try to come up with what I think is going to be interesting. I should probably ask this question more often. All right. And then Calm Moonbeam, aka Mirta, says, hi, identity crisis. Yes, I know. I also, well, for a long time, I had a whole bunch of different online screen names until I stuck with Fingtam, which is a long story behind that. Mi parolas Esperante iomete. Fingtam facte signifas mi furzis en la Hungaria. So, just not going to say that in English. But that's why I chose the name Fingtam. It's a strange story. All right, we'll be colleagues then. I'm going to study linguistics, specialize in Indo-European. Is there any focus in your studies? You might have said it before. I think I would like to focus on second language acquisition, which, goes along quite well with the focus of my channel, but that's one of the main things that I'm interested in. I also am really interested in phonology, although it's like I find phonology to be really interesting, but I don't know if I want to dedicate my life to studying that. Syntax and semantics seems like something that I could delve a little bit deeper into. But I feel like phonology comes more naturally to me. Or, you know, I feel like I just remember that stuff better, and I'm really good at phonology and phonetics, or at least taking tests in those subjects and stuff, and explaining them as well. I have many more videos on my channel about phonological concepts than about, you know, syntax or semantics or anything like that. Andy says, Rasmus, I've never seen the Georgian alphabet before, but I just looked it up now. You're right, it's beautiful. It reminds me of writing in cursive. Okay, now I have to look up the Georgian alphabet. Interesting. It reminds me of Elvish or something. Looks like a Lord of the Rings kind of alphabet. Interesting. All right. Used to be dialects of Old Norse, but now they're different languages. Okay, speaking about the Scandinavian languages, I assume. Used to be dialects of Old Norse, but now they're different languages. Interestingly, Norwegian is spelt like Danish is pronounced. Orange becomes orange. Okay, a bunch of Scandinavian words that I don't know. Okay, Andy says, have to go to work now, Aaron. Bon voyage. Thanks for watching, Andy. I'll see you guys. I'll see you whenever I do another live stream in Thailand. Next time you see me, I'll be in Thailand. Yeah, really quickly going back to the comments about Old Norse. There's a common quote in linguistics, because there's no hardly defined difference between a dialect and a language. A lot of times it's not entirely sure what you're talking about. So one of the famous quotes in linguistics is that a language is a dialect with an army and a navy, right? So to really, from a purely linguistic perspective, you could look at two different manners of speaking and call them two different dialects, right? Like people from Wisconsin can understand people from Texas, and we can both understand people from Australia. These are three different dialects. You know, from a purely linguistic perspective, they're not that different. And you can also take other languages from other countries where, you know, you take the people from one country who speak a certain speech system, and people from a neighboring country that speak something very similar, and they can understand each other very well, just as easily as I can understand someone from Texas. You know, every once in a while you run into a different slang word or something that you might not understand because your speech is a little bit different, and every once in a while it's hard to understand what their accent is saying. You run into interesting little differences. But because they're from two different countries, they call it two different languages, which I'm not an expert, but I believe that's very, very similar to what is going on in like Serbia, Albania, Croatia, those kind of countries over there, where, you know, you have people say like, oh yeah, I speak 6 different languages, but really it's like, oh yeah, I speak Wisconsinite and Texan and Oklahoman and Floridian, right? It's like, yeah, they're slightly different, but are they really different languages? I don't know enough on the subject to talk about any dialect continuum specifically. I know that sometimes people refer to Spanish and Portuguese as being kind of like on a dialect continuum, but that's a stretch, because I can read Portuguese to a surprising extent, considering I've never really studied Portuguese, but I they're not the same language. Like, there's a lot of similarities. Maybe, again, I don't know enough on the subject, but maybe it's possible that maybe Galician is sort of a bridge in between the two, where like Spanish speakers can understand Galician speakers and Galician speakers can understand Portuguese speakers. But I feel like Portuguese and Spanish are different enough apart from each other that most people that I know can't easily understand one just from being able to speak the other. I think it is a little bit easier for Portuguese speakers to understand Spanish than vice versa. So maybe I'm a little bit biased on that front because I don't speak Portuguese, I speak Spanish. Oh, I'm missing comments here. Lots of comments. Okay, do you have any more future careers you plan to pursue? Yeah, eventually I'm going to go back to college and continue working towards my degree in linguistics. I'll for sure at least go back to get a master's degree, if not maybe PhD. I'm going to school on the GI Bill, which is in the United States. Former military members get to go to school for free for a number of years, so that's a really good deal. Okay, Scandinavian languages. Oh wait, I've heard that Icelandic still resembles Old Norse. Yeah, some languages are more conservative than others in that they change less over time. So apparently Lithuanian is the closest remaining descendant of Proto-Indo-European, which is very interesting to me, and I might someday decide to do a little bit of study of Lithuanian just to see. Meaning Lithuanian has changed less over the years than any other Indo-European language. I've also heard that like Italian is closer to Latin. It has changed less than French or Spanish. So it would not surprise me at all if Icelandic has remained closer to Old Norse than Swedish or Norwegian or any of those, especially since they're all way out there by themselves, kind of isolated from other language influences. Rasmus says, Scandinavian languages is my field of study. My focus is Danish. Next year, I can't imagine that I would have to write a dissertation in Danish and defend it. Ooh, interesting. Kevin Abroad says, have a good trip, Aaron. Thank you. Just came to say that. Back to video editing. Oh, well, thanks, Kevin. I probably missed you, but thanks for leaving that comment. All right, Oregon Polyglot. Icelandic is the language that has evolved the least, probably due to it being so isolated. Yeah, so essentially exactly what I said before I read your comment, but you are probably much more knowledgeable on the subject than I am, so I appreciate that. All right, Stephanie Field says, is that similar to Thai, Isan, Laotian too? They're the same but different. Yes, very much so. I can't speak too much about that yet, but from what I've read, it sounds like that's another example of what I'm talking about. You find these with huge languages like Portuguese and Spanish. It's a little bit harder to talk about, but I know in some places, like in remote areas of Africa, you'll have like one tribe who speaks a language, and then or like one village where they speak a language, and then a few miles away you have another tribe that speaks essentially what you would consider to be a modified dialect of the same language, but they can speak to each other and they can understand each other, just they speak slightly differently, just like someone from Wisconsin speaks different from someone who lives in Minnesota. Then you go one more village over, and now these people speak basically the same language, but it's even more different from the original tribe. And then you keep going over more and more tribes, and every village can talk to people from the village next to them, but you get 10 villages away, and these people can't communicate to each other. So it's like, where do you say that becomes a different language? Is it all one language and just people can't speak to each other even though they speak the same language? Or is every individual village speaking a different language, even though they can completely speak to the people that live in the village next to them. It's like you have to find some way of putting dividing lines in the gradient in order to call it another language, and it's very hard to do. Which is why a lot of times people just say a language is a dialect with an army and a navy. We know that that Swedish and Norwegian are very similar, but we're going to call them separate. We're going to call them separate languages because they belong to separate countries. We know that Cantonese and Mandarin are nothing alike, but we're just going to call them Chinese because they all belong to the same country. So a lot of times the definition between dialect and language is more geopolitical than actual linguistic differences. Okay. Kevin O'Brien says, people comparing Portuguese to Spanish equals story of my freaking life. Yes, yes. Yeah, languages are dialects, I understand, but they have changed so much. They have asymmetric intelligibility. Danish people can read Norwegian, but better understand spoken Swedish, for example. Right, which is what I was saying earlier, where I think I remember hearing that Portuguese speakers can understand Spanish better than Spanish speakers can understand Portuguese, because more vowels have merged in Spanish than in Portuguese. How many years it took you to learn Thai? How many years it took to learn Thai? I have not learned Thai, so that's the answer to that question. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, it will take less than 1 year for me to learn Thai. And then by the time I return to the United States, I will then be fluent in my 5th language. I mean, I will be Thai being my 5th language, and I will be fluent in Thai. I'm not fluent. I don't know. Can you say I'm fluent in Esperanto? And depends on. I can absolutely speak Thai and Esperanto, or French and Esperanto all day long. Hold deep conversations in those languages. It's not always going to be pretty, but I can do it. So I don't know if I'm fluent in 4 languages or 2. Who knows? Fluent is a hard word to define, just like language and just like dialect. Okay. Deuce Drama says, thanks for posting the NASC videos. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. NASC was just a great experience, and I'm absolutely going back, and I would recommend it for anyone, especially if you speak Esperanto, but even if you've never heard of Esperanto, check out NASC. What is it? It's like Esperanto.org. NASC.esperanto-usa.org. It's a great experience. If you don't speak any Esperanto, still go check it out, especially if you live near North Carolina. Aldo Gabriel says, I speak Portuguese, and yes, it's easier for us to understand Spanish speakers than the other way around. And Galician is like middle ground where everyone can understand each other. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Galician is kind of the bridge in between. But in Brazilian borders, we have Portunhol, which is a mix of both languages, so people can understand each other more easily. All right. Cumber says, you should record yourself teaching Thai to the kids. I won't be teaching Thai to the children. I will be teaching English to them. And I've been thinking about starting an English channel, like Fingtam English, where I would just simply teach English to people who are learning it. That's in the gears in my head. I already have a lot of channels and a lot of creative endeavors that I'm working on. So that's on the back burner though. If I think I have a lot of people who would be interested in watching videos that I create about learning English, if you are interested in that, let me know, and maybe that will spark a little bit more of a fire. Pudgster95 says, hi, I hope you have fun in Thailand. Thank you. I appreciate all the kind comments. Toba Laka, Indonesia. Not sure what that means. Is that a different language, or is that a town in Indonesia? I keep forgetting I don't have my clock there anymore. I took it down. All right, well, been streaming for close to an hour. For those who are just joining, I want to one more time mention, you can go back and watch the beginning of this video. I had my sister here actually, which is why there's another chair. My sister lives in Thailand, and she makes videos about just living in Thailand. She has a YouTube channel, which you can find by following the link that I've left in the description below this video. And if you want to see what I am going to do in Thailand, she makes a lot of videos about traveling around country and just doing different things in Thailand. So if you're interested in that, interested in seeing what I'm up to, go ahead and follow her channel. And that should be pretty interesting to follow. And then I'm leaving. So thanks for watching to all of you who are still here, and I'll see you guys eventually.